We are in middle of Torah Yud Zayin in Likutey Moharan, and this Torah is called VaYehi Merikim because that's the pasuk that Rabbi Nachman begins this Torah with. And we were explaining how Rabbi Nachman says how the tzaddik, the way that we receive Yira and Ahava, the basis and the foundation of all serving of Hashem, the basis and the foundation of all our connection and our relationship with Ribbon Shalom, the basis and the foundation of the whole Torah is fearing and loving Hashem. Yesterday we spoke about how we must also combine the fear and the love and the fear. And that's why we say in the L'Shem Yuchud before the mitzvot, B'tchilu urechimu urechimu udechilu. Okay, B'tchilu urechimu means in Aramaic with fear and love. And then we repeat it the other way, we say urechimu udechilu, and love and fear. And so that's including the fear and the love, and including the love and the fear. And Rabbi Nachman explains to us that it's not possible to receive. It's impossible, he says. Not that, a good advice in order to receive these aspects of fearing and loving Hashem is through the tzaddik, but he says it's impossible. Okay, that's a very, very powerful way of saying it. Rabbi Nachman says it's impossible for a person to receive the aspects of loving Hashem and fearing Hashem if it is not through the tzaddik. Only through the tzaddik of the generation may you receive these aspects of fearing Hashem and loving Hashem. And then Rabbi Nachman starts explaining how that works. And Rabbi Nachman says that the tzaddik is always seeking and searching to reveal the reason why Hashem created the world, the general reason, the general purpose, and the general intention that Hashem has for creating the whole world, the whole universe and everything in it in general. And then also he seeks and searches to find and to reveal the specific reason that Hashem has for creating every specific thing in the whole universe, and every specific detail in every specific thing, person, place, thing, time, space, every detail, every part of the universe. The tzaddik seeks to find the purpose that Hashem had in creating this thing, the intention that Hashem has for this thing. What's the purpose that Hashem has in creating this in each moment by moment? And the tzaddik seeks to find that, and he seeks to reveal that. And what is this intention that Hashem has for creating the whole world and all of existence? Why did Hashem create everything? In general, he created everything for the tremendous joy and honor that Hashem receives, the tremendous pride that Hashem experiences, so to speak, kivyachol, in Am Yisrael, in the nation of the Jews, the Jewish people. That's in general, yes? And in detail, in every detail, specifically, there's a specific pride and a specific joy and a specific honor and happiness and pleasure that Hashem receives from every individual in the Jewish people, for every individual in Am Yisrael, and from every detail in each individual in Am Yisrael, and from every moment of that individual, every detail in that individual in the Jewish people. And so there are many, 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 many details, sparks, so to speak, of the fulfillment of Hashem's intention in creating the world, which is that honor that Hashem receives specifically from every detail, from every Yid, from every Jew, in every moment. That honor, that joy, and that pride. As we said, Rabbi Nachman mentioned the pasuk Yisrael asher b'chait pa'ar. Yisrael, in which I receive pride. I pride myself in Am Yisrael. Okay, and so the aspect of Bnei Yisrael is the aspect that brings pride to the Ribbon Shalom. Hashem created the whole world in order to reveal this energy of God's pride, of God, of the king's pride. The king is proud with his kingdom, with his subjects, and that is only possible to the extent that the king has subjects, that the king has a kingdom. The revelation of the kingship of the king is through his subjects, right? And melech belo am, there is no king without a nation. And so that's what we are. We are the representation. We are the nation of the king, the subjects of the king that come and reveal this pride, this honor of the Ribbon Shalom. And for every detail and specific point in the pride and in the joy that Hashem receives from every individual in Am Yisrael, from every detail in that individual's life, how they live their life, what is going on with them from moment to moment, there's a specific joy and pride and honor that it comes to Hashem, for which Hashem created a detail, a certain part of existence, a certain part of the universe corresponding to that, and for that purpose, for that reason. Okay, and so this is working. There are, let's say, a billion trillion times a billion trillion details in the whole universe. There's much more than that, but let's say there were only a billion trillion times a billion trillion times a billion trillion in the whole universe. Okay, and there are at least a billion trillion. There are also a billion trillion times a billion trillion times a billion trillion details, specifics in all of the individuals of all of Am Yisrael. And each one of these specific details in Am Yisrael brings a specific joy and happiness, pride to the Ribbon Shalom. They reveal and they increase the pride of Hashem, the honor of Hashem in a certain way. And that is the reason why Hashem created, corresponding to that, a certain point, a certain detail, a certain specific point in the universe. So really the center of the whole universe is the Am Yisrael, the Jewish people. And they are the purpose that Hashem had for creating everything else in the universe, in general and specifically. Each individual in Am Yisrael brings a certain joy and honor to Hashem, for which a certain point and part of the universe was created for them, because of that. Okay? And so the tzaddik comes and reveals that. The tzaddik understands what that is, in general and specifically. And that's the intention that Hashem has in creating the world. And that's the pride that Hashem has in Am Yisrael. That's the pleasure that Hashem has in Am Yisrael. That we said that Hashem anticipated this pride and this joy in Am Yisrael when He created the world. Okay? Because of that, Hashem created the world. Okay, so this is what we're up to now here inside. נמצא שכל העולם כולו נברא רק בשביל ההתפארות שהתפאר בישראל, וזה היה כלל הבריאה, דהיינו שכלל הבריאה היה בשביל כלל ההתפארות שיקבל מישראל. So that's what comes from this is, in short, what we see from this is that the whole universe, the whole world was created only for the sake of this pride that Hashem will take in the Jewish people. And it's for this intention that Hashem created all that is. And Hashem created the whole creation for the sake of this collective pride, right, and joy that Hashem will take from the entirety of Am Yisrael. Okay? And also, every detail in all of creation is for every specific point of pride that Hashem will have from every specific point in every individual in Am Yisrael. כי יש בכל אחד ואחד מישראל התפארות בפרטיות, שהשם יתברך מתפאר עמו בפרטיות, ואפילו בפחות שבישראל, אפילו פושעי ישראל, כל זמן ששם ישראל נקרא עליו, כנקרא פושעי ישראל, יש בו התפארות פרטי שהשם יתברך מתפאר עמו בפרטיות. He says every individual and every particular point in creation was created for the individual and particular pride that Hashem takes in every individual, in every particular and specific detail in every individual of Am Yisrael. Because, and this is very important, because he says, every Yid, even the lowliest Yid in the world, even the greatest sinner of Am Yisrael, as long Even when he sins, he's considered a Jew. Even if he sins, he's considered a Jew, and he's called a Yisrael. And that's the point here. He's called a Yisrael. How do we know this? Rabbi Nachman proves that every Yid is called a Yid, is called a Jew, is called a Yisrael, no matter how much he has ever sinned, because he's still called Poshei Yisrael. We know that the Chachamim, the Gemara, refers to Am Yisrael, even the sinners among them, as the sinners of Yisrael. Poshei Yisrael, the sinners of Yisrael. So if you're calling them, to the extent that you're calling them a sinner of Yisrael, then you're implying that even though he's a sinner, and the Gemara doesn't make a distinction how big is his sin and how many sins he has, right? But it's implying that even if he's a sinner, he's still calling Yisrael, Poshei Yisrael. And Rabbi Nachman says that aspect, that name, Yisrael, as long as you have this name Yisrael attached to you, then that means that you are a source of pride to the Ribono Shel Olam. And not only in general, but specifically, there's a specific pride that you are constantly bringing to Hashem in every moment of your existence, and from every specific detail of your existence, there's a specific pride that you are constantly bringing to Hashem moment by moment. Even if you're the greatest sinner, even if he's the greatest sinner, as long as he has the name Yisrael. And he has the name of Yisrael, even though he's a sinner, because we call him Poshei Yisrael. And now he goes even more specifically, even more into details. So imagine the great understanding. Imagine the level of understanding. It's a level of divine inspiration, of Ruach HaKodesh, that the tzaddik is able to pick up on these minute, imagine that spiritual sensitivity that he has, to be able to pick up on these minute, tiniest details of in every part of existence and every part of the universe, and the tiniest details of the honor of Hashem from every Yid, from moment to moment, that corresponding to that is a certain part of the universe, a certain specific detail in all of it, in the world. So that's what Rabbi Nachman says now. וכן בפרטי פרטיות, כי יש בכל עבר ועבר ובכל תנועה ותנועה של ישראל התפארות אחר. ויש לפעמים שאיזה פחות שבישראל עושה נענוע עם הפאה שלו, והשם יתברך שלו התפארות גדול גם מזה. He says, in every limb of every Jew, in every movement of any limb of any Jew, from moment to moment, there's a specific pride that is going up to Hashem. He says sometimes a Yid moves his payas. He goes like this with his pace for a split second. From every movement, there's a specific pride that is coming up to Hashem from that. And Hashem has a great pride, a great enjoyment, a great honor that comes from this. From every detail of your existence, from every part of your existence. So this is just, we are magnifying in the awareness of the tremendous yakrut, the tremendous significance, how precious is every Yid, and how precious is every detail, every part of every Yid in every moment of their existence. והצדיק על ידי שמבקש ומחפש תמיד ומוצא ההתפארות שיש בישראל בכלל, ובפרטי פרטיות, בכל עבר ותנועה של כל אחד ואחד מישראל כנ"ל. על ידי זה יודע ומשיג כל הרצונות של השם יתברך שהיה לו בכל הבריאה ובכלל ובפרט ובפרטי פרטיות. כי כל הרצונות של כל הבריאה, הכל היה בשביל ההתפארות של ישראל כנ"ל. וכל דבר ודבר נברא ברצונו. בזה הכוח ובזה הטבע וההנהגה, כפי ההתפארות שיש בכל אחד מישראל. And so the tzaddik, by seeking and searching and finding and understanding constantly the worthiness that exists, yes, and the pride that is being brought to Hashem, and the worthiness in every Yid, the preciousness of every Yid, the value and the significance of every Yid, in general and in detail, and in every detail of every detail, in every limb and in every movement of everyone in Am Yisrael. Through this, he's able to know the will and the purpose and the intention of Hashem in general, of the whole creation, and in detail, and in the detail of every part of all of the creation of the whole world, of the whole universe, in each and every moment. Because it was all for that pride that Hashem has in Am Yisrael, for that enjoyment, for that honor that Hashem has with the creation of Am Yisrael. And everything was created, everything in the universe was created for that purpose, in general and in specifics. And the specific energy and the specific form and the specific characteristics of everything in creation was for a specific honor that Hashem receives from each one of Am Yisrael. נמצא כשיודע מוצא ההתפארות שיש בישראל, בכלל ובפרט ובפרט בפרטיות, יודע כל הרצונות שיש בכלל הבריאה בפרטי הבריאה בפרטי פרטיות. And so when he finds and when he realizes and recognizes and brings to the surface of our awareness this pride that Hashem has in Am Yisrael, this enjoyment that Hashem has with Am Yisrael in general and specifically, he knows the purpose and the intention that Hashem has for the whole of existence and for every detail in the all of creation. So Rabbi Natan, as you can see here, Rabbi Natan is reviewing these words of Rabbi Nachman in many different ways, because he says that it's something that's a deep concept and he wants us to get it clear. And so he's going to review this again now in the parentheses. That's what he does here. Ki ha'itpa'arut, and he just reviews what we just explained. Ki ha'itpa'arut she'Hashem mitbarach mitpa'er b'Yisrael hu shoresh habriya. The enjoyment and the honor, the pride that Hashem takes in the Jewish people is the source of all of creation. היינו כלליות ההתפארות של כלליות ישראל, מה שהשם יתברך מתפאר עם כלל ישראל, זהו שורש כלליות כל הבריאה בכלל, וכן פרטיות ההתפארות, מה שהשם יתברך מתפאר עם כל אחד מישראל בפרטיות, זהו שורש של אותו דבר פרטי של הבריאה שנברא בשביל זה ההתפארות, וכן מפרטי פרטיות שההתפארות שהשם יתברך מקבל בפרטי פרטיות, מכל עבר ותנועה של כל אחד מישראל, זהו שורש של פרטי פרטיות של הבריאה, דהיינו של כל עבר ועבר בפרטי פרטיות של כל נברא ונברא. So, Hashem has a general purpose for all of creation, and he has a specific purpose and intention for every part of creation. Paralleling that, Hashem has a general honor that is coming to Hashem from the existence of Am Yisrael, and then there's a specific detail, a specific type of honor, and which is the enjoyment that Hashem has from every specific and from every individual in Am Yisrael, from every specific and detail in that individual in their moment from moment to moment. And those two things paralleling each other, the Am Yisrael is the source for all of creation in general and specifically. The honor that Hashem receives from all of Am Yisrael in general and specifically is the source for the whole universe generally and all the specifics in the universe. That every limb and every detail of every limb and every energy and every force and every shape and form and characteristic in Am Yisrael brings a certain honor to Hashem, a certain specific honor, a certain specific enjoyment to the Ribono Shel Olam, a certain specific pride to Hashem, which is the source for a certain specific point in the universe. והכלל, כי עיקר הבריאה היה בשביל ההתפארות שהתפאר עם ישראל, וזה ההתפארות הוא השורש והחיות של כל הבריאה בכלליות ובפרטיות ובפרטי פרטיות, כי כל הרצונות של השם יתברך בבריאת עולמו, בכלל ובפרט ובפרטי פרטיות, היה כפי ההתפארות שמקבל מישראל, בכלל ובפרט ובפרטי פרטיות, כי כלליות הבריאה נבראת בזאת התמונה ובזה הסדר וההנהגה שיש לכלליות הבריאה, כפי כלליות ההתפארות שמקבל מכלל ישראל, וכן כל דבר בפרט נברא בזה התמונה ובזה הטבע, כפי פרטיות ההתפארות שמקבל מכל אחד מישראל בפרט, וכן מפרטי פרטיות כנ"ל. Again, you're just reviewing this idea again, that in general and all the specifics of the whole creation, why it was created in this way, why does it look like this, why is it that's the shape, why is it this color, why does it sound like that, why is all the characteristics of every part of the creation in general and specifically was created paralleling the general and the specific pride that Hashem receives from all of Am Yisrael in general and specifically from each one of us from moment to moment and from every detail in our existence from moment to moment from every individual in Am Yisrael. V'aken hatzadik על ידי שמוצא ההתפארות של השם יתברך מקבל מישראל תמיד, בכלל ובפרט ובפרט בפרטיות, על ידי זה הוא יודע טעם כל הרצונות שהיה להשם יתברך בכל הבריאה, בכלל ובפרט. כי כל הרצונות של הבריאה בכלל ובפרט ובפרט בפרטיות, היה כפי ההתפארות שיקבל מישראל בכלל ובפרט ובפרט בפרטיות. And therefore, and so what is the tzaddik doing constantly? He says that the tzaddik is constantly finding the joy and the pride that Hashem has with every yid. Okay, and this is like we saw by Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev. Specifically, we saw especially by him that he would always find what even the greatest sinner in Am Yisrael. He's still considered a yid, he's still called a Yisrael, and there must be a certain pride that this yid is bringing to Hashem. And he would seek and search and find and understand and bring to awareness that pride that Hashem has in every yid and in the detail, in every specific characteristics of every yid. And when the tzaddik does this, says Rabbi Nachman, he's able to understand what is the ratzon, the purpose that Hashem had for every part of the creation. Because that ratzon, the purpose that Hashem had for every part of creation, is in fact, is that pride that Hashem has with every yid and with every detail and specific characteristic of every yid. And so that's how he finds the purpose of Hashem, the ratzon of Hashem, the sparks of will, of attention of Hashem that are the source of all creation. And understand this well. Because these words are very, very profound and deep. From these words, if you contemplate what I just explained to you, you will be able to understand the greatness of our Creator, of the Creator of the world, the greatest of the Ribbon Shalom, the greatness of Am Yisrael. We can come to understand the greatness of Am Yisrael. You know what it means? That every yid, every individual, every moment, every limb, every detail of every limb, their form, their shape, their energy, their koach, their energy, whatever, every part of them brings a specific pride to Hashem moment by moment, and that is the source for another part of the universe, the greatness of Am Yisrael. And you will come to understand the greatness of the tzaddikim that are able to pick up on this, they're able to know this. What does it take for a person, for someone to understand this? What does that mean? And look at their perspective. Look at the way they see the world. You have to be greater than a malach, greater than an angel, to be able to see things from such a perspective. And they're able to know שיודעים איך הם מסתכלים בעולם, שיודעים בכל עשב ועשב, בכל מין נברא שבעולם. טעם, תמונתו וכוחו והנהגתו בפרטי, and that they're able to know that they're able to know the from each blade of grass, the tzaddikim are able to know in each blade of grass and in every part of creation, in every part of the universe, everything that is in the world, the reason why it looks this way, the specific reason for its form, for its strength, for its demeanor, for every characteristic of it. And therefore, because this understanding is a very deep understanding, and because it's so important to understand this idea, to contemplate it a little bit, contemplate this idea just a little bit, he says, because by contemplating, the more you contemplate, the more you sit and meditate this idea that I just taught to you, the more you will come to recognize the greatness of Hashem and the greatness of every Yid and the greatness of the tzaddikim. And that's why he says, and that's why I took the time to review this and to repeat it in so many ways, in so many words, because of how subtle and how deep it is. ועל ידי זה שהצדיק מגלה ההתפארות של השם יתברך שמתפאר עם עמו ישראל, שעל ידי זה נתגלין כל הרצונות של הבריאה כנ"ל, על ידי זה נתגלה היראה והאהבה. And now getting back to our point at the beginning of the Torah, through this process that the tzaddik seeks, searches, finds, understands, reveals, and brings to awareness the pride that Hashem has from Am Yisrael, from the Jewish people, that through this is revealed also the reason that Hashem has, and the intention that Hashem has, and the purpose that Hashem has from creation, from the world, from the universe. Through this process is revealed Yira ve'ahava, fearing Hashem, awe of Hashem, and loving Hashem. And how does that work? When the pride of Hashem is revealed, thus is revealed also the fear and the awe of the king, the fear and the awe of Hashem. And he tries to explain that point. How does that work? How is it that by revealing the pride of Hashem, the honor of Hashem, that Hashem has, and what is that? We said that's from every one of Am Yisrael, general, collective, and specifically. How does that reveal the awe and the fear of Hashem? So he says, he gives us kind of like a mashal. He compares it, he says, כמו שעל ידי התגלות ההתפארות של ישראל, שהם מתפארים עמו יתברך, על ידי זה נופל יראה, כי ההתפארות של ישראל הוא בחינת תפילין, שנקראים פאר, ועל ידם נתגלה יראה, כמו שאמרו חכמינו זיכרונם לברכה, מניין שהתפילין הם עוז לישראל, שנאמר, וראו כל עמי הארץ, כי שם אדוני נקרא עליך ויראו ממך, נמצא שעל ידי התגלות ההתפארות שמתפארים ישראל עמו יתברך, על ידי זה נופל יראה. So Rabbi Nachman shows us from the aspect of tefillin, from tefillin, he shows us that the aspect of pride, of priding yourself, is connected to the aspect of fear and awe. Okay? Kabbalistically, we know that Tiferet and Malchut are connected. Tiferet is the pride of Hashem, the energy of pride. Malchut is the aspect of kingship, which is the awe of the king, fear. And so when you have the Tiferet, you have the Malchut. Okay, in an ideal situation when they're connected. And we're speaking in an ideal situation because by following this process, we bring about that unification. And the Tiferet and the Malchut are combined, are one. And so when you reveal the Tiferet, the Malchut is revealed. And the Tzaddik is revealing the Tiferet, the pride of Hashem, and so the Malchut, the awe, the fear of Hashem is revealed. But Rabbi Nachman shows us this, he illustrates this from Tefillin. He says, look, he says, when we pride ourselves with Hashem, and what is the pride that we pride ourselves with the Ribbon Shalom, is the Tefillin that we wear. Okay, because the tefillin are called pe'er. Pe'ercha chavush alecha. The pasuk says it's referring to tefillin. Yes? And through the tefillin, the fear aspect, the fear energy, the awe is revealed. As we know, the Gemara in Brachot says, how do we know that the tefillin bring might, power, oz, to Am Yisrael? How do we know this? Because it says in the pasuk says that when the nations of the world, when the nations of the world see that the name of God is upon you, the name of Hashem is upon you, and what is that? The Gemara says it's referring to tefillin. When we are wearing the tefillin, the name of Hashem is upon us, and the tefillin is the pride that we have in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because all the parshiot, all the what is written inside the tefillin, right? The parts of the Torah that we take and we put and write in the tefillin are all speaking about the praise of Hashem. It's all speaking about the pride that we have in Hashem. And we know this from another Gemara. The Gemara says that Hashem also wears tefillin. And Hashem's tefillin, in Hashem's tefillin is written the pride that Hashem prides himself with Am Yisrael. Right? It says, Mi ka'amecha Yisrael goy echad ba'aretz. Who is like your nation, Israel, a unique nation in all the universe, in all the land. So Hashem's tefillin is the pride that he prides himself with us, And our tefillin is filled with the pride that we pride ourselves with Hashem. And the tefillin are called, and that's why the tefillin are called pe'er. Pe'er means your pride, like the crown of the king. Yes? And the tefillin brings about the experience of awe and fear of Hashem's name that is upon us, as the pasuk in Devarim says, and that's what the Gemara says, that the tefillin are the might. They bring might to Am Yisrael. This is the might that we have, that the nations of the world are in fear and in awe of us when we have our tefillin, because the name of Hashem is upon us. So we see, says Rabbi Nachman, that when the pe'er, when the pride is revealed, the pride of Hashem is revealed, either the pride of us, it's not only the pride of Hashem in us, but also when the pride of us in Hashem, when that's revealed, then the fear, the yira energy, the awe is also revealed. And so when the tzaddik reveals the pride of Hashem in Am Yisrael, the pride that Hashem prides himself with the Jewish people, so that's when the fear is revealed. So that's already one part of the equation. Now we understand how the tzaddik reveals fear. Again, we're going to have to also explain how does that bring about the revelation of the love, because we said the yira and ava, fear and love. Nimsa, says Rabbi Nachman, we see that when we reveal the pride that Am Yisrael, the Jewish nation, the Jewish people pride themselves with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, our God, our King, our Father, through that, the energy of fear and awe is revealed. The fear descends upon all of the nations. Okay, and we'll see the next part of this Bezrat Hashem in the next year.